Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Big Mike here. Hey, it's Friday, May 2nd. All right. Man, it's already May. Can you believe that? But hey guys, I'm glad you're here. Those who came in, I know 8:30 for some people is early. Some people are at work. I got that. But it worked for me. And if it works for me, that's when I'm going to go live, right? So we go live every Monday and Friday, just talking about what the goings on is. And this episode of Morning Talk with Mike is brought to you by our friends Jamie and Kevin over at O'Rourke's Littlefield. Okay, so if you haven't subscribed to them or know who their channel is, please go over there and check them out. Guys, it started at 2 o'clock this morning. If we didn't already have enough rain for the year, the skies busted open this morning. We got another 2 inches of rain between 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to say it was still raining down here around McAllister, Oklahoma, about 5:30, 6 o'clock. It finally stopped. The sky is a little brighter off in the distance, so I think we're on the downslope. It's heading up towards Tahlequah, over into Arkansas, into Missouri, so get ready. It brought us 2 more inches of rain. Terrie mowed yesterday. I said, "Are you sure? Are you sure?" I said, "The ground's still wet." "No, that's top is all dry and everything." So she hopped on the zero turn and she mowed the front yard, or I should say, at this point, the front hay field and the front part of our house and on both sides. And again, underneath was still wet. It's all, you know how it comes out all clumpy and it's cut. And if we didn't get it cut, we'd be so far behind. And then you can see every place she rode that zero turn got a rut. So yeah, hey, it's going to dry out sometime. Summer's coming. I've seen Jerry just wants it to hold off. And like everybody around here, I mean, they're going to have a very early first cutting of hay because the hay fields are just sprouting. It's going crazy. Between that and all the calves being born, it's getting loud. And then when they put all of them over in the weaning barn on the property next to us, of course, that's going to be a nightly thing between the mamas and the babies just going nuts. But anyway, hey, big stuff happened. If you've seen our Monday show, Morning Talk with Mike, we talked about 10 killer. We had Johnny up here, and we talked all about that. So we're not going to go back into that. But I will tell you that tonight at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, we will have a premiere, raw and unedited, our visit to the 10 killer meetup. So the video, we had so much footage, and then there was so much footage that we didn't take because we were having fun, and I forgot to get my camera out. But yeah, it got pretty long. And so Terrie cut it down to like 40 or 44 minutes of video. We said, man, that's a long video. Let's just do a premiere. So she's got it set up. Hopefully people seen that go out over our community tab, or the post tab now as it's called. I think YouTube, they get bored and they just change names and change things up just to keep you on your toes. But I've got my coffee in my official Morning Talk with Mike mug that Jesse over at Lazy Days Ahead had made for me and gave to me at the meetup. So that's my morning talk mug that I will use. Right around the corner, guys, in Mid-America at Lake Eufaula State Park here in Oklahoma, May 16th through the 18th. I mean, right around the corner. So hopefully, if you're coming to it, you've notified us that you're coming so we can get a head count, and that pertains to food and things like that. So we have all the logistics taken care of. I did talk to Amy. Chris got a huge ice cooler, like one of those you'd see at the state fair or restaurants or catering services. So they've arranged to bring that so we can have a community ice chest with all the drinks and stuff like that. People I mean, that was just awesome. And if people brought a 6-pack or cans of soda or whatever it was, water, so we just fill that thing up with ice and drinks, so people don't have to worry about that part of the meetup. They can just get them a drink and have a good time. We still need people to volunteer to cook, to bring Blackstones. I think we got 1, 2, 3 Blackstones, but we see it right now with 88 people, and that's subscribers and creators. We have 88 people on our list that's gone on to our Facebook page and clicked I am going. And then with all the people they're going to bring, 88 people could turn into 150 people, could turn into 200 people. And then those people coming that have not let us know, and they bring all their family members, bring everybody. That's fine. If we have to run to the Walmart and pick up more food and bacon and whatever, but we encourage people, if you want to help support the meetup, I'm going to say it, okay, because I'm unfiltered. That cuts down the cost on us if everybody brings a little for 2 breakfasts, and then the potluck lunch / dinner on Saturday. Bring your favorite potluck, whether it's cookies, cakes, short ribs, pulled pork, chili, whatever it is. If you bring that, and then we can have a spread for everybody during the meetup for that one lunch / dinner meal. We'd appreciate that. We're going to be bringing the cups, the napkins, the plates, the flatware. We'll bring drinks. We'll bring bacon. We'll bring sausage. We'll bring eggs. Meetups are good for us because we had 55 dozen eggs on the counter, and I think we brought down 12 dozen for Jesse and Lisa. We brought down a couple of dozen for Treasure Hunter, Neil, and Beth. And then we brought down, I think, 15 or 16 dozen or whatever it was for the meetup itself, for the 2 breakfasts and stuff like that, along with everybody else and everything. So it absolutely worked out great. So we appreciate that. I did get a parcel yesterday in the mail, and it came from Gary over at Jailbait Tackle and Outdoors. 25 fishing hooks to give away. So things have been coming in, and this came in. And that is what a hat fishing hook looks like. And now Gary told me they go on a certain way. and it just clips onto your hat, country boy style. A lot of people like to wear those on their fishing hat. Can't fish with it, but it's just little personal decoration for your hat. So we're going to give away 25 of those. We appreciate that. Lauren over at Lauren and Joel over at Making It Home. Sorry about that. She has made some beer mugs and has engraved those. So they're giving those away. We've got tons of stuff. We've got fishing poles and all kinds of stuff that we're going to be giving away. Make sure you get your sticker order in if you haven't done so already, so you can pass out your stickers so everybody knows who you are and they can subscribe to your channel and come over and watch you. And it's good for, one-on-one chats, giving people stickers. We absolutely enjoy doing that. And we got the meetup stickers in. We've got the new MT Homestead. If you got the old MT Homestead sticker, we got our new one that we're going to be handing out. And then we're going to make a big announcement on Saturday where the 2026 Mid-America is going to be located at. So big news there, and it's a place that nobody's had a meetup at, and I think people are going to love this place. That's in 2026. But anyway, so I got those out. I've got the link at the top if you'd like to come up and talk to the good people out there. We got 26 people in here right now. We'd appreciate that. A little banter back and forth goes a long ways. So please come on up, and I will keep checking the basement because sometimes I forget that, and it's right in front of me on the screen, and I don't know how I miss it every time. But yeah, so it's Friday, last day for a lot of people. Merns Pacquiao's in here, or was in here. There's Queenie. How are you doing? There's Annie. How are you? You get the right mouse in my hand. Come on. Come on. There we go. There's Irma, our friend over in Turkey. Hello. Not for nothing. There's Ginger Snap. Welcome in. She beat Joey in. And that's kind of hard to do. Wendy even beat Joey in Hardneck Farms. There's Wendy. Got to see her at the 10 Killer meetup. There's Greg and Gina. Good to see you. Joe, fix it for you. There he is. Yeah. For the record, ladies, I was in the mornings with Mike setup and took your trophy. Take your trophy. There you go. All right. Let's see. Who else is in here? Butler Family Farm. There's Jerry and Susan over in Missouri. Good to see you. Hey. And there's our friend Gary.
Howdy, everybody. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Got you loud and clear.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm just Riverside, and I just wanted to show you two things. We talked briefly. This is how the hat hook should be displayed, in my opinion. Can you see that okay?
Yeah.
All right. And so this is a two-part purpose. This is the last existing full-blown country hat in existence that's still intact that Tish has not destroyed. So anyway, just thought I'd share that little tidbit of information. Hope everybody has fun at that meetup. And I'm going to be labeling this weekend, and probably first thing Tuesday morning, I'll get it out. I'll try and rush the order to you. I don't know the exact count on the honey, but I'm also going to try and send you some little individual clear plastic baggies, like 2x3 baggies, so you can put those little hat hooks in and
Oh,
make
okay.
it so they don't get all tangled up. And I'm going to try and send that to you as well. So
Okay.
I'm hoping for 4 jars of honey. I've never shipped that before, so I'm kind of fearful. I don't want it, I don't want one to break, or so I got to do some.
Lots of bubble wrap.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'm glad to see everybody. Like in the mornings when I attend these things, I'm only on my phone, so it's hard to keep up with all people. Everybody says hello to me. I just want to say hello back
Yep.
to everybody, and you're doing great things. And if you scroll up, I put hashtag Mike for President 2028. So that.
I don't think I'll pass the background check for now. I've got security clearances and all that, but I don't think when they do background checks on you, they're not, the news agencies aren't really looking for security clearance type things. They're looking for everything that they can smear you on the wall with. So I don't think I will pass that one. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure Terri's got a little bit of smear on you. We can bring her into this.
She knows everything. She knows where the bodies are buried. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to tap out. Just wanted to say hi and good morning to everybody. Have a good weekend.
Have a great
All
day.
right.
Bye.
All right. Later.
All right. So that was Gary at Joe Bait and Tackle Outdoors. I'm still waiting for Ginger Snap. I know she's got her makeup on. I'm waiting for Jerry. I'm waiting for Joe Fix It For You. Everybody come on up and let's get this party started. So, hey, as everybody knows, I retired back in July. And I really didn't, I paid attention to Social Security and the fact that they took it out of my check, for 40, wow, 40, 47 years or whatever that I paid into Social Security. But my eye wasn't on the prize at the time. And I kept hearing the rumors that, it's going to go broke in 2030 and things like that. And so I started looking into it deeper. Looked into regular Social Security, disability Social Security, and over on Sergeant's Talk TV, we have video about disability and VA and all kinds of stuff. Hey, there's Paul Case.
Morning. How are you, Big Mike?
I got the 411, the information on Paul Case during the meetup, so I'm going to keep that to myself.
Appreciate that.
I got it from the aspect of friends. I got it from the aspect of a spouse.
No.
But I will share. I will share one thing that your wife did tell me in confidence, and since we're friends, she told me. I said, "How do you control Paul Case?"
I know.
And first of all, she spit up whatever she was drinking. Okay.
Probably Dr. Pepper.
And she said, "Nobody controls Paul Case." I said, "What?" She goes, "Paul does what Paul wants to do."
Mm-hmm.
Right? She goes, "I learned a long time ago, don't even argue with him. Paul Case is going to do Paul Case." I said, "All right." And I looked at my wife and she goes, "No, you can't."
The funny part about Anita is you can't tell when she's joking and when she's not.
That's right. But hey, it was great seeing you. It's great seeing your wife. I'm glad I got to introduce you to Mountain Dew Blast Zero.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff. It's on our list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something, but like with all things, moderation, what do they call that? A little self-gratification every once in a while is good. So it's special.
Mm-hmm.
And I will be bringing some of that to Mid-America because I really, really enjoy that. But you can't get it at every Walmart. It's kind of weird. They came out with Mountain Dew Zero, and for a while there, our store, you couldn't get it. And I'm going, hey, guys, what's going on? And they said, man, when they came out with that stuff, and it wasn't the one with the saccharin in it, or
Mhm.
Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew gives you that aftertaste. But after a while, it just tastes like soda to me. But health wise, I'm not saying it's great for you. Nothing is when you overindulge like I do. But it's better than the diet. And I'll leave it at that. So,
Hey, you talking about not everything's the same at every Walmart. Um I had talked about this in somebody else's live not very long ago. For all my life, I guess, I drove by or been driven by a place on Highway 69 that's just north of Pryor and on the west side of the road that says Greer's Sausage. The building says Greer's Sausage. That's all it says.
hmm,
I got curious about that, so I went to poking around on the internet, wondering, where could you buy some of that? It's Oklahoma company. Why not support
yeah,
Oklahoma people, right?
yeah.
So I hunted it down, and it actually is called Greer's Ranch House Sausage, and it is available in our Walmart. We've tried it several times and really like it.
Wow.
And it's of the ones that they showed on the internet available at our local Walmart, it was cheaper.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was
Well,
quite a
again,
bit
gas
cheaper than.
prices dictate the shorter distance it's got to travel. And
Yep.
you can go to one Walmart and you can go to another Walmart and prices are different.
Yeah, but if you really go to talking to them, Walmart has distribution centers. So, like that, in order to get to Miami from Pryor, would have to go to Bentonville, Arkansas, and then back.
Oh, wow.
And so
That's
it's,
crazy.
but it's good sausage.
Yeah.
I liked it. It would remind you of blue and gold. It probably carries a little more spice than that, but
Well, that's what I like.
yeah, me
Yeah.
too.
But I will tell you that Walmart is seasonal. Like dead of the winter, you can't find a baseball or a baseball glove unless they didn't sell them all.
It's
Um,
kind of hard to find charcoal at Dollar General sometimes,
yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
But I had a friend that was a general manager of Walmart, and he told me because I ran a business on the Army base in Fort Leonard Wood, and he told me their standard is to turn over all products in the store 17 times a year.
Wow.
And one of the things that they do, if they get things in, then they will. Walmart has this big database and they will look at all their stores and what's selling, what's not. A truck comes in from Walmart, and let's say you're not selling these hat fishing hooks the way Walmart wants you to do, but the Walmart down in Gulf Park, Mississippi can't keep them on the shelves. They will pick that stuff up, transfer it, and truck it down there so they can sell stuff. So their standard is a full turnover of the store 17 times a year, and that's how they do it. If they can't sell it there, they'll ship it somewhere where it does sell, or they'll just discontinue it. No ifs, ands, or buts. You know what I mean? So I was going, holy smokes! And when I was running my store on base, my only competition in that area was the Walmart. So if I could beat Walmart, I could push my products and stuff like that. And he would always come into my store on base and go, "Hey, you're selling that cheaper than." And then you go. I checked him, went back, and I said, "Oh, they just dropped the prices on that so they could match me."
Mm-hmm.
So when you deal in big bulk like that, and I'm pretty sure that this whole tariff thing with China is putting a little kink into Walmart.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
probably.
Yeah.
I was watching a guy who does comparisons on food. He rates food.
Yeah.
He always does comparisons between, and he was comparing Walmart and Costco's rotisserie baked chicken that they sell.
Yeah.
And he said, and the coolest thing about the rotisserie baked chicken is it's already cooked and it's 1/3 of the price of what a raw Cornish hen is. That would be
Really?
the size. Why in the world would they sell cooked ones? It's because they can do that to get you in their store.
That's right.
And they're doing it at a loss, probably,
Yeah.
to be able to get you in there. It's kind of
And I'm
like
going to tell you
opening the
something. I
doors.
really like their rotisserie chicken.
Mhm.
I don't like the fact that, and that's one of the reasons you don't go to well, if you go to Walmart hungry, you'll buy more.
Oh, yeah.
But if you go there and you're hungry, and now when we go to our Walmart, they have the rotisserie chicken in this box right there by the checkouts. So you go, oh man, there's probably people that buy it and you can just, pull chicken out of the bag while you're driving home. Kind of like McDonald's fries,
Like what everybody used to get to do with grapes.
Exactly. And I do test the grapes at the Walmart when I'm shopping, so don't leave your bag open if you don't want me to taste test them.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't know why them don't weigh as much as the bag says they should. I don't know.
Well, I think that's why you weigh them by the pound when you go to the register. Hey,
Hang on, let me lean on the scale a little bit. That'll help everything.
And I think that the people that work at the Walmart, because everything's just about self-checkout. Okay. There's only in our super Walmart, there's 2 registers open for those people who just can't deal with technology. But I think they're getting tired of me asking, hey, where do we pick up our checks for the self-checkout?
When is that Christmas party?
And then they have the gall at the end of your checkout. Please rate the service. And I go,
I did
what?
tremendous today. Right?
Mary always hits 5. She gives herself 5 stars. So she's like the employee of the month at the McAllister Walmart. So,
well, that was something else. Jack was one that I was talking to about that sausage, and he was searching it on the internet, and it didn't show that they had Greer sausage at his Walmart, and I think it was McAllister. I'm not sure.
no, he lives a ways away from me.
Does he?
Yeah, he lives off of 30, going down 35 south out of OKC. He lives over in that central part. Yeah, so I'm over here. Well, you know where McAllister is on 69.
Oh.
So he lives somewhere off of 35 on that central side of there. So I guess it's about an hour and a half or more from my house to his house. So, because there's no major road. If you're going to go cross country, it's all back roads.
Yep.
Be
familiar with that.
Yeah. So Social Security. Now, the president signed an executive order, which took effect on 15 April. Significant date because everybody's supposed to have their taxes in. And in that executive order, it did a few things. Like I said, before I was retired, I really didn't pay attention to it. But I am now. And it's since it's part of my income now to survive month to month, then what they had done is, number one, they put a mandatory $10,000 fine if you are caught BS in the Social Security Administration, meaning you're doing a false claim. People go out there and, believe it or not, they find your Social Security number. They build fake accounts and get all of your information. And then what they'll do is they'll say, hey, they'll call the Social Security Administration up and say, hey, yeah, this is Mike. I'd like to change my banking information. Well, you, sir, you can do that online. Yeah, I really don't like, I don't have a computer. I'd rather do it, person to person. And they'll say, okay, can you tell me your name? Can you give me your social security number? Can you give me your home address? Blah, 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 all that stuff. And they'll say, oh, okay. And then these people, these scumbags, using a really polite word for me, will change the banking information on some poor schmuck surviving off Social Security, and the checks start going into this account. Well, if you get caught doing that, falsifying whatever, and now if you're an illegal alien, meaning you're not supposed to be here, and oh, by the way, our last president, right before they got out, they gave Social Security numbers to over 2 million undocumented people here in the United States. Well, what does that tell you? That means if you got a Social Security number, you've got children, you can apply for Medicare, Medicaid, stuff like that to help support you because you don't have any money, so on and so forth, which had put a big, gigantic burden on those systems within the United States. We're talking billions of dollars a year in people taking those benefits away from Medicare and Medicaid. So you can be fined or imprisoned if you don't have the money. They'll put you in jail for that. And that's mandatory. If they catch you, it's not, between zero and this, it is $10,000 fine. And then that money, all the fine money goes back in to the Social Security fund. So that's one thing that this EO does. The second thing it does not allow for any undocumented person to get a Social Security number, get Medicaid, get Medicare, anything like that. You just can't do it. It's just they put a halt to that stuff. So that's the second thing it did.
I bet on that one that there are probably holds that keep the government from collecting Social Security off from people who are not documented too.
Yeah.
So basically the benefit on the first one would keep them from ever recouping any of that benefit.
Yeah. And what they found out was people who are on the rolls after they're 100 years old, they're finding that people, Americans, are helping out undocumented people by saying, here's my grandpa's Social Security number, and they're applying for Social Security using that Social Security number. Or there are people out there that your parents get old and they're finding this out. And you're finding out, they need help. So you're on their joint checking account or savings account to help them out and stuff like that. But they've passed away. But like all good governments, Social Security does not talk to whatever department that you're dead in. Okay.
Oh, yeah, you have to notify them.
Which is the finance section of the government. Social Security just runs all the paperwork and all that. All right. The Treasury sends out the checks, okay, or puts it in your bank. Well, for some reason, our friends over at Doge have found out that the Treasury Department, their computer system, cannot interact with the Social Security. Now, Social Security might say, yeah, you're dead, but they're the only ones that know about it. You know what I mean? They don't talk, and that's our biggest problem. All these departments cannot talk to each other. So for years and years, Mary, who's on the joint checking account, just lets that check keep rolling in. And Mary's taking money out and so on and so forth because the Treasury Department does not know this. Now, if Mary gets caught, okay, because Mary has a responsibility, because they'll say normal thinking people will say, hey, I'm not authorized this check. Somebody needs to stop it, okay? And they're supposed to contact the U.S. Treasury Department, yada, 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 or get a lawyer and say, hey, we got to stop this stuff, or whatever the case is. You're also subject to that $10,000 fine from that. So now that's number 3. So they're taking, right now, they're looking at every person on the rolls for the Social Security Administration to verify that those people, and it's in the millions, you're still alive, you're dead or whatever. And right now they've put a halt on everybody over 100 until they finish it. Now, if they come to your name and say, hey, Mike's still alive and he's 101, all right, we'll continue, give him his back pay, and we'll pay him out. Everybody else, they're just cutting them off. So when you talk about millions of people who are dead and they have been collecting Social Security checks for years, that's a lot of money. Let's just say you're making $1,800 a month in Social Security, and the rolls have you at 125 years old. And you've been dead for 20, let's just say 20 of those years. So 20 times 18 times that many months, that's how much that the government is just paying out. Why? Because we're dumber than rocks in our government. Okay? They know this has been going on for years, but nobody's done nothing about it. Now someone's doing something about it, and every freaking wackadoodle crazy sign holder, I'll protest for anything, is losing their freaking minds that you're trying to clean up a system that we're used to include their congressmen and senators who have absolutely lost their freaking marbles on all this stuff. And that is what this executive order does. Now, if you're against that, dude, you need to move out and go somewhere else, because that's your money. And these people aren't going to care until they start collecting Social Security. You know what I mean?
You know, the thing about Social Security is, though, that you didn't hit on, and you talked about people trying to collect and getting in line to collect on Social Security. Social Security was a deal that was supposed to be for those who paid into it. And that may not hit a person who makes a weekly check like it does somebody who's farmed all their life. Here's what it does to my taxes. I could have a loss on a year. And at the end of the year, when I file my taxes, in order for me to be eligible for Social Security 40 years after the fact, I have to pay taxes on a year when I have a loss, which means I didn't make any money according to what the government says. Right. But I have to pay to be able to get my Social Security benefits. And so there's folks out here like my parents. My parents both paid into theirs. Dad worked at B.F. Goodrich in Miami until he was in his 40s, and then paid for another 20 years on Social Security, him and Mom both.
Yeah.
They're both drawing a little bit of money off Social Security, but here's the sad fact. It ain't enough to live on.
No.
If they weren't selling their land to their kids and grandkids under the table, they couldn't get enough to live on. And
Don't say
Johnny
that too
pointed out, if you're gonna start drawing Social Security at 62, they have a requirement that you can only make so much money for 2 years after you start drawing it, or else they dock your Social Security, which means
And
you
see,
have to
that's me.
apply.
I started drawing at 63. Okay.
Has anybody figured out how you can live comfortably on $13,000 a year?
Yeah.
Not in this economy.
And I will tell you that I started drawing Social Security at 63. Okay. So I've been paying into it since I was 18 years old. Okay. And when you look at it that way and you've been paying in and paying in, and then they tell you, hey, you have been paying into this thing, and what you've paid into it over the years, you will not get what you paid in over all these years. By the time you're dead, you will not recoup the money that you paid into it. You won't. It won't happen.
Live to be 120.
Yeah. So unless you're 120, yeah, maybe their kids are protesting the fact, and they say, well, they paid into it. We're going to keep taking this money. But I think that one of the Texas gals, one of the Democrats, Crockett, she had access to her mother's or grandmother's checking account or whatever. And for some reason, there's still movement on the checking account. And grandma or whatever she is, she's been dead for years. Okay. And so now she's in trouble about all that stuff. But it's kind of weird. I know that now you have to, like, YouTube and all this stuff. Terry sends in a quarterly projected tax thing each quarter or whatever she does. She handles that, but she pays into it so it doesn't hit us all at once at the end of the year. And she probably overpaid that because we got money back this year. But then again, I retired in January. I mean, in July, so I only worked 7 months during this tax period, and I've never received a check from the federal government when I was working. But I received one now that my paychecks stopped in July, and I went into retirement status. And my problem is my VA, my Army, and my government civilian check, and my Social Security check, all come from the federal government. So if they go bankrupt, I'm screwed.
Hey, if they go bankrupt, we're screwed anyway because everything we're trading with is money they've made.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's where survival skills are going to kick in, and there's just going to be a lot of people don't make it.
Yeah.
However, my
garden, you're screwed.
My Alaska put this up there, and I wanted to say something about what he said. He said you could put all your assets in a trust and go at it that way. However, when you do that, you relinquish the rights to sell the property or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And owning property outright is, I think, can be a blessing from God or a curse from the devil.
Yep.
But it's kind of whichever way you run it. However, on the section my parents live on, about a third of it's owned by a family that did that. And now they can't get their kids or their grandkids. They both passed away. Their kids or grandkids, neither one want to run it because they have siblings that weren't involved with the farm that they added in on the trust. And they get a share of whatever money's made on the farm, and they never show up. They're never there.
Yeah.
And so it takes away from somebody wanting to work at it very hard. However, if something happened where we had to sell some land to pay off something, let's just say Anita got a bad car accident and was in the hospital for 4 or 5 months. That's going to take a lot of money to pay for her bills.
Yeah.
Where's that going to come from? You're going to sell it out of the trust? You can't.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. So
Yeah.
there are benefits and liabilities probably from both of them. But I was really wanting to tell you I could do a rant about all things political for a minute or two if you'd like.
Go ahead.
Okay. Whenever I get started talking about the government, though, I get so high pitched.
Yeah. Did you take your blood pressure medicine? He's ranting about the government.
And that's all I have to say about that.
There you go. Hey, we want to say hello to Sonny's Place. Yes, undocumented / illegal immigrants are still protected under the Constitution, which includes due process and the right to be with family and the right against unreasonable search and seizures and education. Okay, I get that. I'm not talking about all that. I'm just talking about what the executive order says and what Trump and his staff is trying to do. I don't know the constitutionality of a person that's not a U.S. citizen.
I do. They don't have those rights.
Okay, I'm not going to debate that part. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, nor is anybody in the chat a constitutional lawyer. For me, the worst advice I ever got was somebody in the barracks when I was in the military. They called them shithouse lawyers. They think they know what they're talking about because they've been in trouble before. So I can't speak on that. And I don't know everybody's experience. And I don't really want to go down that hole with it because everybody has opinions. Everybody has a feeling about this. Everybody is affected by it differently, whether it's family members, whether you're paying taxes and somebody's not working and people are getting benefits and you're not getting benefits and you don't understand why some people can just, here's all this. Because, I mean, look at the protest in Chicago, okay, where the Black community in Chicago, they wanted to string up the mayor, okay, because they're saying, hey, wait a minute, now the Black community has to take a step back so that this community can get benefits and be taken care of, and they don't feel like they are. So everybody has an opinion, and I get that, and I respect that. And like, again, nobody here is a constitutional lawyer. We think we know what we're talking about, and we probably do in some cases. But if you look at laws on the books, there is so many loopholes. I mean, just take the tax code. Holy crap. The tax code was made for rich people. Okay. And you and me trying to, hey, on page 1243 of the tax code, there's a sentence in there. Okay. That's why these guys hire lawyers to get out of paying taxes. And like Trump said against Hillary, hey, that's because I'm smart. Okay. I'd rather pay this much tax and then pay these guys because the cost of it all doesn't pay or is cheaper than what I would normally have to pay. And I get that. Okay. If you can afford that, good for you. But then people say, hey, the rich people need to pay their fair share. Well, they're paying their fair share in accordance with the tax code because you politicians developed this. So don't bitch that somebody's not paying their taxes. If you ask me, Mike, the shithouse lawyer here in McAllister, Oklahoma, I'd say take a match, burn the tax code, and say, hey, everybody pays 15%. Page 1, tax code. Page 2, everybody pays 15%. There are no loopholes afforded in this tax code. Page 3, end of tax code. Okay? Simple. Every company, every corporation, every swinging Richard, hanging Mary, whatever, everybody pays 15%. Shut up, go home, and let's get on with business. If we did that, we would be taking in more than the $5 trillion that we pay right now with a tax code. Simple. And I say that because I pay more when I was working. I paid more than 15% in taxes. Okay? But if everybody paid it, what are you going to do? Okay? And then everybody gets up in arms about tariffs. Tariffs are where countries' governments make the most money. If you bring stuff in and you're a business or you're shipping stuff into the United States, no company's making money off you. It's the federal government. That's why Trump said, hey, I'm going to have an external revenue service to count all the coin that we're going to make by raising our tariffs to hopefully to be on level with the country that's already tariffing us.
It's not, though.
For years, we only had a 2.5% tariff on all kinds of stuff, millions and millions and millions of things, while another country had 30% tariff. 2.5 is less than 30% if you're dealing with, let's say, Germany. Okay? Germany requires you, if you bring it in, they've got a Mehrwertsteuer over there, which is a value-added tax that their people have to pay, which goes directly to the government, besides the tariff the company bringing it in has to pay for this goods. So governments make this money. So everybody's up in arms. Oh my gosh, we're raising our tariffs. Guys, we're not even in the same ballpark as these other countries.
Yeah, did you see the list, Mike? The list showed that the only actual reciprocal tariffs were on countries that only had a 10% tariff on ours, and he didn't go less than that.
Yeah.
And all of the others were about half of what other countries are charging us. And this is what people are throwing a fit about?
Yes.
Makes no sense.
Yes.
Makes no sense.
And now that hard head over in China, Xi Jinping, okay, his country's ready to explode, okay, because they can't ship their garbage into the country, and everybody's getting shut down because nobody's shipping stuff to them because he went crazy. 145% tariff, blah, blah, blah. Ain't nobody going to do it. Now his people are losing their jobs, they're losing their livelihoods, and they are ready to revolt over there. If you just watch any newscast, they're going nuts, okay? And there's been people, there's violence in the streets, and you don't hear of, the last time you heard of something really getting out of hand was Tiananmen Square, where they just freaking went in there and mopped the floor with their citizens and stuff like that. It's coming that way again. And I'm going to tell you something. People are going to start waking up that we have been a punching bag for way too long. And we weren't even in the ballpark with tariffs coming into the United States. That means everybody can just drop their crap in here. Yeah, it was cheaper. I get that. But how did that help us? We just got a bunch of cheap crap that comes in how many TV companies do you know are located in the United States when they all used to be in the United States? Okay.
All I know is I can't pronounce the name of my TV.
unless it's LG, and that's a simple one.
I was going to say the leader of China's ping pong pong what?
I can't believe I got that out correctly too. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy.
Are you sure you're in Oklahoma? Because anybody that's been here very long gets countrified, and they can't say those words.
Well, there's some words that will shock. Terry goes, did you realize you said a word that doesn't mean what you thought it meant? I said, whatever. Nobody caught it in Oklahoma, right?
Right. They're all like, I know what he meant.
Yeah. So O'Rourke's Littlefield's in here. I want to say hello to that. My Alaska's in here. Sorry I haven't been keeping up with the chat. There's Paul Honeyman from England. I know he's chatting. Heartland headquarters with Dink and Tanks in here. Killing Farms. Yep. Debbie Drock's here. Lindy Oakey's here. Rebecca Touched by Yarn. There is Cheerful Mix TV. Hey, welcome in. Paul's welcoming them in.
I tell you what, we could use on that tax code. We could use some people in that office that know how to run a drive-through at a Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
And they'd have that thing figured out and flattened out and nothing. No, dude.
There's Rainy Ridge. Welcome in. Jennifer Ocean Homestead's here. We got 35 people in the chat.
There's no doubt in my mind that we won't solve much sitting here talking about it, but
no.
Gives me hope that there's other people out here that's scratching their head like I do.
Yeah.
Whenever the outcry is for a gangster that gets sent back to his country where he came from, not getting due process. I want to tell you something. The Constitution was made by people who were landowners. And the thing they were looking at on that kind of stuff was a guy that comes onto my place trying to get me to do something for him has no rights here.
Yeah.
And so all those rights that are outlined in constitutionality, however deep you want to go, don't apply to people who come here illegally.
Well, I think that people in general, let's just say normal thinking, not again sign waving people, because they interview those guys and half the people don't even know why they're there. Hey, someone paying me to be here. I got on a bus, didn't have a job. I'm protesting. But a normal thinking person that would say, if I feel like the government's not taking care of me, or the system is rigged against me, or I'm not getting what I think, I should be getting, and then they see people coming in and they're seeing government or city governments or state governments absolutely doing everything that they can, and we're talking in the billions and billions of dollars, and they say, hey, they said they didn't have no money, but all of a sudden they're getting all this money. And then we find out that USAID was a slush fund for politicians and the government to do whatever the hell they wanted with your tax dollars. And you're not taking care of your people within the United States very well. You don't have very good health care or affordable health care. And all these people we're seeing, the novice people are seeing, hey, they're doing this. Healthcare costs are going up because nobody's really paying for this, because everybody can go to an emergency room. And the people that go in there they got to take care of you to keep you alive by law. Private hospitals will ship you off to county hospitals after they save your life. But everything goes up. Somebody's got to pay for all this stuff. And that's the taxpayer. You poor saps out there are paying the bill for everything that our politicians think that we need. Because number one, we voted for them to speak on behalf of us. And it doesn't seem, that's why America is so divided, that politicians, whether one side or the other, you're not doing what I thought you were going to Washington for. Okay.
Oh yeah,
Then
yeah.
there's politicians that just do whatever the hell they want to because they have their own personal agenda.
Yeah,
Okay.
quite a few of
Then
them.
when you
that
see a
vote to
politician go to
Washington
El Salvador to visit somebody,
in jail.
and you go, is that the platform you guys really want to be on? Do you really want to go down that road when you just lost an election and nobody's buying into your woke ideology bullcrap, and now you're going to do this, and you think that people are going to side with you that left your side and voted a different way? It doesn't. They're not smart people in Washington. And I'm going to speak on both sides. Okay. I mean, I wish there was slap your politician in the face day, and they have to stand there and somebody gets the honor from your state out of a raffle just to slap the piss out of them. Okay. And it's crazy that some of these people just 40 and 50 years of the same crap, because it depends on where you're from. If you're from the San Francisco area, Nancy Pelosi has ruled the roost for all these years because they just keep voting her in. Well, and then you go over there and you look at San Francisco. I'm sorry, downtown looks like a third world country. Everybody's leaving. All the businesses are leaving. It's just closed up shops. And this is what you want for your community? I just don't get this. So, and then somebody comes in and says, hey, we're going to put a stop to this. Dude, it's like taking a junkie off crack cold turkey. That's what it seems like. And they're losing their freaking minds over it. Because number one, they got caught. Okay? They got caught. And they're going, oh my gosh, let's use the fact that he just fired all these people from USAID. Let's find a judge that'll help us. And what they're finding out through the Supreme Court is judges, you can't interfere with the executive privilege. Okay? His job is to manage. He doesn't approve the checkbook. That's our Congress, our Senate and Congress. But his job is to manage the purse once it's been approved. Okay? And if you're writing checks above and beyond what you're bringing in, before you know it, you're going to be living in your car. Okay? And that was the direction we were going. So, yeah, whew, gosh, dang. I get upset when I talk about that stuff. So let's get off of Trump. Let's get out of here. So let's talk about Doge. Here's the facts. I went to the Doge website, okay, and you can read more about this at www.doge.gov/savings. And we find out in there that currently they've stopped all these contracts. Nobody, those companies aren't going to get any more money. All right. And they have actually found that they could pull back that hasn't been spent yet on all these things, $160 billion. Okay. Now I get it. Musk has 468 billion. All right. That's his little bank account somewhere. But they found $160 billion that they could pull back that hasn't been spent or has disappeared somewhere, but those contracts have stopped, so that money will not be going out anymore. That comes to $993.79 for the 161 million individual federal taxpayers that are on the books right now. So you figure you got 330 to 350 million people, and only 161 million people are paying taxes. That's on the federal tax books. Okay. So that's significant, not in the fact that they've found all this money, but the fact that they have stopped all these BS contracts that the government has and all these payments going to these countries, because these countries are counting on that money every year. Okay. And we're paying people to be our friends. Well, screw that. If I got to pay you to be my friend, I don't need you. Okay. I don't need you. So that's what I just found out, the update on Doge, and you can track it. You can track it by department within the government and how much they have in contracts with all these companies. And it will shock you. And that's just contracts. Then you can look on there and you can see all these, like they say in the Wizard of Oz, good deed doers. That's what I wanted to say. That we're paying for these little pet projects all over the world. Okay. Like teaching the people of Angola not to be transphobic. Here's $100 million to teach your people, when it is illegal to be homosexual in these countries. They're paying people to make them aware. Maybe it's because people might want to change their government, because if you're in these countries and they find out that you are gay or whatever, their laws say they'll kill you. So then you see in America, gays for Palestine. Guys, that's one of the countries they'll kill you. And you're protesting gays for Palestine when you're not thinking that if you went over there, and that's probably why you're not in Palestine protesting with your sign, because they will kill you, because they don't believe in that. Okay. So there's all kinds of stupid things, and people just got up in an uproar over this whole thing, that we caught them, and how dare you, and then Elon's going to try to get your money, and he doesn't need your money, nor are all these CEOs that are on his team. All they focused in were these 18, 19, 21-year-old computer whizzes, that it took a computer whiz to break the code into a government computer to find out what the hell they're doing. That's my take on it. So.
Hey, I got something for you.
All right.
It's said that when a liar is told a lie consecutively, consistently, they begin to believe the lie, even if they made the lie up themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe there should be time or term, at least, limits on people in Washington. They seem to go there and forget where they come from.
Yeah.
Just
well, here's the other part of it.
Not only that, if you have
people
term
that
limits,
can change it is the people that don't want to change it.
if you had term limits, they would only be a certain amount of time allotted that you'd have to deal with insanity like AOC and Pelosi and all of those.
Yeah.
They ought to be out of there. Yeah. They hadn't ought to be able to serve long enough to influence the ones that come after them.
So here's the way our system is set up. Whether you're in the state, at the state level or the federal level, your legislation, your Congress, your Senate, and your governor, or in our case, Congress, Senate, and the president, enact something into law. Okay? So every state has term limits on their government, and that is set forth by your House and your Senate. Okay? But they don't have a term limit in the state government for congressmen and senators. So then you go to the federal level, and our Congress and our Senate set the law. They make law, okay, to say there's term limits on a president. But these two people, two houses, House and Senate, will never create a law to limit the amount of time they can spend in there doing crazy crap. Okay? Now, does that seem fair?
You know, that was something that really griped me.
And they dare not put it on the ballot for the people to vote on.
Yeah.
They dare not do that.
They won't do that.
No.
Especially after Trump gets elected, they don't want to do that because they know what way it'll go.
Yeah.
That was something that really griped me about Joe Biden that never came up when they ran him for president.
Yeah.
And that was that they'd tried it before and they figured out he was a plagiarist and the Democrats wouldn't even run him. Do you remember that? Years before they had run him, he was in the Democratic running to and when they had their little runoff thing, they pulled him out. They wouldn't even let him vote on him because it'd come to light that he was a plagiarist. And there was only 2 candidates that time on the Democratic side. And so it picked itself at their little convention.
Yeah.
But we could all go back to that time when Ronald Reagan was president and he liked humor, and sometimes he would gouge people with humor. And so he told a story about a little boy that was outside of he was outside of the Democratic convention, and he was selling puppies, trying to sell these puppies. And he called them Democrat puppies. And then a couple weeks later, when they had the Republican convention in the same place, he had the same puppies there trying to sell these puppies, and he was calling them Republican puppies. And one of the members of the press stopped him and asked him, they said, "We seen you here with these same puppies 2 weeks ago trying to sell them as Democratic puppies, and now you're trying to sell them as Republican puppies. What's the deal?" He said, "Oh, now they got their eyes open." Yeah.
Oh, man.
Everybody's waiting on me to leave.
Why?
Look at him over there. Well, Paul's telling a story. That means he's leaving. Actually, I'm almost out of my allotted coffee for the morning, and I need to go count cows and check on them. Yesterday,
counting cows.
Yesterday was
You're Johnny Gillum.
Well, you have to do that.
Yeah.
And some people have given me heck over that, saying, "Well, why do you have to count your cows every day?" I said, "How are you going to know they're all there? How are you going to know there's not one off having trouble? How are you going to know there's not one
going
on the
roll call and call their name out or their number? They won't answer.
Not when there's 93 of them all together that you got to count."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But hey, we've been on here for about hour and 15 minutes or so. Did we accomplish anything? I don't know. But I do know here one thing. Another thing I looked at was the U.S. immigration removals. Currently in 2025, criminal conviction removals on the CBP and ICE website has 17,157 criminal conviction removals from the United States. Pending criminal chargeable removals that are pending right now in the courts, 6,369. Other immigrant violators that have been removed, other than they committed a crime or a violent crime or whatever, is 47,879. Total removals in 25 so far is 71,405. That's only that is less than a month's worth of people that came into the United States over the last 4 years each month. Okay, that ain't even close. But that's on the website, and you can view all that plus a lot more about this whole subject at ice.gov/statistics, and the federal government updates that. I wouldn't wish going to an El Salvador prison on anybody.
Except,
but they haven't counted, and there has been a lot of people that have self-deported themselves. And I would like to see what that number is, or even if they can track it. I don't know, because they have absolutely done a marketing job on those El Salvador prisons. And I think they're doing it to deter people from committing crimes.
might deter them from going to El Salvador.
Exactly. But I will tell you that I don't think it really affects those. And I'm not saying everybody that came in the United States is, batshit crazy. But there's probably people that came in that are probably had mental problems, just like we have people that have mental problems that do crazy stuff.
No, it's because of this stuff that we're having to deal with. All of us that are already here are that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that, they're doing that just to, it's kind of like scared straight. Oh, I don't want to do that. And I am a criminal and I'm part of MS-13. But I've got my senator, he's on my side. That's just nuts balls crazy. But hey, you may be if you're a gangbanger, a badass on the streets. But once you're in an El Salvador prison, in a cell with 71 people, and you're pooping and peeing in the same toilet hole, and and they don't care what gang you're from, they mix it up. You're killing each other inside the prison. It's crazy. And I get it. Is it humane treatment? I don't know. But if you killed somebody, you deserve everything you're getting. Okay. And all these people that are protesting it, until, feelings change. If all of a sudden your daughter got treated like Lincoln Riley did, or that mother in Maryland that was raped, killed, and freaking chopped up, you change your mind a little bit. But there's so many freaking wackadoodles in the States. I think we've got enough homegrown wackadoodles that we don't need more. And that's just me talking.
That's how I feel about Washington. I think some of those people that are in Washington being representatives are only there because they're sick of having them in their state.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to tell you my honest opinion real quick about everybody that's come in. I do believe that there are quite a few people, okay, if you're counting 21 million plus people that have come into the United States, if that number is correct, I do believe that there are some people that truly wanted to come into the United States for a better life and not to commit crimes and stuff like that, just to survive. I got that. Okay. And that's
they have ways they can do it legally.
There are, but a lot of people can't afford that. And then you'll have pundits on this side that'll say, hey, they should have every opportunity. But what about all those people that did their due diligence and they did it correct? And I get it. There's probably a lot of people that came in that can't read and write and don't have access to put an application in, or probably wouldn't even know where to begin to do it. I got that. Okay. And I think that part of this whole thing was to build up voter base on the Democratic side. I mean, if you shake your head no, you're fooling yourself, because they've already let that cat out the bag. But I'm going to tell you that, and this is just me growing up in Arizona, growing up, I mean, our house didn't start in the barrio, but it ended in the barrio because it grew so big that most, and I can only speak on my Mexican friends that I grew up with, went to school with, went to church with, and all that, are pretty conservative, okay, in their beliefs, are pretty conservative in their beliefs. They believe in hard work. They believe in family. They believe in taking care and, being a respectful part of the community. I'm going to tell you, I grew up in that part of the country where I didn't see somebody black in person until I was like 12 years old, that I can remember. Okay. And he was a kid. And I go, whoa, holy smokes, and I was just amazed because I seen you on TV, but we only had a black and white TV, so it was kind of weird for me. But I grew up in Mesa, Arizona. In the part of town I lived in, it was basically a Mexican community within the barrio where I lived. And it's just sad. And I get it when you're so inundated, all of a sudden you're just boom, all these people coming in there. And not all of them are Mexican. Not all of them are Latina or Latino. There's Chinese, there's Africans, there's Haitians, there's people from Thailand, from Asia. They all came in because it was the easy way to come in. Okay. And it didn't help that the government just said, here's a welcome mat, just come on in. Okay. And that's what pissed off a lot of people, not to include everybody and all the crime. We already had our own crime. We had enough of that. Okay. And then you're going to compound it. I get it. And the government just gave a lot of people a lot of reasons to bitch and complain, to protest, to say, no, enough is enough.
I think we can agree on something. I think we can agree on the people that we send to Washington need to love our country. And
a little bit more than they are right now.
A little bit. I'm like, a truckload would be great.
Yeah.
In some cases, any. Because whenever you have a natural disaster here that leaves people without food, water, electricity, and their homes are all ramshackled, and you go and sit in the White House and say you're going to send $1 million, 10 million, whatever $billion to some of the country that has an earthquake, and you don't even go where people are hurting in our own country, that just shows where your heart is.
Yeah.
And we need people in Washington that are in love with our country and that they want to fix the problem. I hope our president right now will be able to do that, but man, they've screwed her up so bad, it's going to take longer than 4 years to fix it. So I'm looking down the pike thinking, who's next? I want to see somebody pop up that loves our country. I'll vote for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you, I've lived and I have been deployed into a lot of countries, and people in the States don't get it, or they don't understand it, or they're just naive. But there are some racist governments around the world. There are, that you would say are racist. There are a lot of countries around the world that as soon as they find out you're undocumented, you're on a freaking plane somewhere. Okay. Number one. a civilized country like Korea, okay, in order to come into their country, to immigrate to their country, you have to, number one, speak, read, and write the language. And you're tested before they'll let you come into the country and live there. And you can come in on a 60, 90-day visa, but if they catch you staying there, number one, you're going to do jail time. Number two, as soon as your jail time's done, your ass is on a plane and you're gone. Number two, you have to show a way, physically show them that you have enough funds to survive in their country for a minimum of 5 years. Okay? 5 years, because they will not give you one dime. If you're starving on the street, guess what? That's where you're going to die, is on the street. Okay? They're not going to do it. But they'd already ship you out before that happened. Okay? There's countries all over the world that will not put up with the crap. Okay? And you would think Australia would be a country that wouldn't put up with that stuff. And guess what? It's not like you can just walk across a border and go to Australia. Right? You have to fly in or be on a boat or something. But they're not going to put up with your crap. Okay.
There was a reason that Crocodile Dundee carried a knife too.
That's right. So I mean, the people just don't realize, we're always we are a country of immigrants. Okay, because the people that came to the United States, you weren't the original immigrants. Oh, and by the way, people that are, I guess, classified indigenous, everybody started in one place in the world. So everybody immigrated
from two people.
From two people.
So
everybody immigrated into the United States. We call them indigenous because they were here longer. And now we're finding out that there were people here 20 million years ago.
Not possible. The Bible.
Whoa, what? We thought they came across during this time, and then they go down to South America. I watched this on the Discovery Channel, and people were saying, no, science says this is when they were here, and now they just found out. I mean, before we split atom, we thought the atom was the smallest thing, right? And everybody was, yeah, that's the smallest thing. And then they split that sucker, and they found out different, right? So now they found out, even all the way down to Central America and South America, they were there even longer. Okay.
Hey, what did they get when they split the atom? What did they really find out? It came out in the news, and it was really short-lived because the evolutionists didn't like it.
What was it? Proton and neutron?
Yeah, it was what
Whatever
those.
Don't quote me on that, people. I'm not a scientist, but I think when they split that thing, they found out there was elements within the atom.
What the proton and neutron were made of, what the very building block of matter actually is, they determined to be what the scientists called sound. Interesting.
Vibration, sound?
No, sound. When God created the world, he spoke it into existence.
Oh, there you go.
They proved it, and then they get real hush-hush about it. But the Bible says shows that the earth is only about 6,000 years old. So 2,000 years ago.
Whoa. The earth 6,000.
Yep. The earth is only about 6,000 years old.
I don't think
crazy, huh? Crazy. Yeah, they've been pushing this millions and billions of years on us ever since 1980. And it's just simply not true according to the Bible. And the Bible is proven to be a very, very good history book.
Yeah.
And so, look in the Bible and you'll find out, if you search it out, it tells us how many years old the earth is.
I don't know. See, there she is. She's come to slap you in the back of the head. Go count your cows.
Go ahead, put it up there. I don't care. I've been slapped in the back of the head before, but
So, guys, if you've been in here since we started this, I applaud you. And I want to thank you guys for coming in.
Science proves the Bible.
Yep.
Every time they try to disprove it, they seem to prove the Bible. So,
yep. So, guys, I want to thank you guys for coming in. We go live Monday and Friday, morning talks with Mike. We also go live. I go live on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time with Sergeant's Talk TV. And then Wednesday, Terry and I, MT Homestead, 8 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So I hope you get enough of me in a week that you want to come back for more.
I've got a little announcement if I can.
Sure.
My normal live tomorrow night after Jesse and Lisa will not happen. So I will probably go live Saturday morning about 8 o'clock.
Okay.
So I'll be live for an hour about 8 o'clock Saturday morning.
Yeah.
Hey, and it's been fun being on here with you. No matter what my face said, because there was a time I ran out of coffee and I didn't know if the world would keep going or not.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought about when I got out of the Army. I said, well, if I get out of the Army's going to go to hell in a handbasket. Next morning, they were running, singing, having a good old time.
Better off without me.
There we go. All right, guys. So we want to thank everybody for coming in. Remember, Mid-America, May 16th through the 18th, Lake Eufaula State Park. Hopefully you could be there if you want to volunteer for anything. And I'm going to put what we need on our Facebook page. And if you'd like to volunteer for that, please email us at mthomesteadok@gmail.com. It's on our About page here on the channel. So let me get you to volunteer for something, Paul. It could be as easy as making sure, hey, take one soda. Move out.
I would love to, but I'm not going to be there, Dad.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to be able to make it. May is just too busy for me.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's fine. I think the world had enough Paul Case at 10 Killer.
Probably overload. Somebody just was Janae. Janae just put up a short overnight sometime, and it has my wife's picture as the tag on it. I'm like, that is hilarious.
Yeah.
She hadn't even seen it yet.
Oh, man. Hey, and there's Evelyn Newman. Got to see her at the meetup.
Yeah.
Yep. And I got a short that is doing pretty well about her little puppy. So go check that out also, guys. So, hey, guys, we love you. Remember, be kind to one another. Help somebody in need. And always think of that. Guys, we love you. God bless you. We'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys. Now we can go count some cows.
Thanks for having me on, Mike.
Oh, no problem.
We'll catch you later, buddy.
Bye.